Well, the weekend is coming to an end, but that doesn't mean I have to stop. So today we're going to have a very interesting episode. We're going to be reviewing two shows with ChocoPro 293, I think? Yeah, 93, featuring three matches. And of course, we got the latest NWA pay-per-view, Enough Said, where we have most of the titles being on the line. We have the women's tag team titles, the women's championship, the tag team's titles, the junior heavyweight, the national, and of course the 10 pounds of gold. But we'll be having title exchanges. We just gotta wait and see. As you know, our main event features Matt Cardona versus Tyrus. As you know, Cardona has been telling the entire wrestling world that he is the true world champion. But also, we're going to be doing a DWZ discussion. This one has a unique topic for everyone if you're big time Stardom fans. This topic features, of course, Lady C, DDM, and Queen's Quest. Now, as you may have been hearing or not, there has been some interesting developments with DDM when it comes to Lady C. Now, if you guys remember, currently Lady C is teaming up with Himeka and Micah in the Triangle Derby. But the real thing that's been brought to my attention, certain fans are paying attention. Where is Queen's Quest saying in all this while DDM are opening their arms? That is something we definitely got to be talking about. So we'll find out on this episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with ChocoPro 293. This is one of their most recent shows they have put out. Our opening match is a three-way match. We feature Chiko Shikawa versus who's Mochi Natsumi and Balinaki. Now, this is a very unique match because Balin is back, and we're gonna see how much he can still have his game. As you know, he's been killing it here in the States since last year, but now he's facing someone he has dealt before. Too much energy, Chi, and of course Mochi Natsumi. So that's just a very interesting match. Now, I had a feeling that there was going to be a team up between both Mochi and Chiko Shikawa because basically they know how much bigger threat. But however, there is the rule of thumb. They know that he is the super aged champion, that he has to put the title on the line one way or the other. But that doesn't stop him there. You probably would have assumed that, oh, Balanaki will try to find to be clever to walk out as the victor, which ironically he did. He actually put Chi in a landslide, but used Mochi Natsumi as leverage to keep her pinned down long enough for the ref to apply the 1, 2, 3 count. So it was rolled over right from there. But of course, they both, Chi and Mochi, went, ah! Basically not happy how the results of the match. Our next match we have is tag team action. We have Mei Suruga teaming up with her student, Miya Yatsuba, taking on Black Komachi, consistent of Tokiko Kirihara and Antonio Honda. Now, you probably would have assumed they both Honda and Kirihara are going to play out their dirty tricks. Well, not dirty, but more of their usual tricks to find ways to pick up the wins. Not to mention playing the guitar, using the fans, and whatnot. I mean, I thought this match was pretty funny because there was a moment they brought in one of those hammer toys, like bonk. That didn't work on various occasions, but however, I had a feeling that this match was going to fall in favor to Black Komachi due to the fact that Miya Yotsuba is the junior of this entire organization, And apparently it did. Basically, it was a double dive by both Tokiko and Antonio Hana that picked up the win. Antonio picked up the pin while Tokiko made Suruga occupied at the moment before she even reached her. Now, our main event, we have Shin Suzuki teaming up with Chon Shido to take on CDK, Masahiro Takanashi, and Chris Brooks in a non-title match. I thought this match was pretty good because it showed, okay, let's see what Chon and Shin can do, because we know that currently we see um, CDK are currently haven't been lost a single match yet. We have seen them defend those titles time and time again, but there hasn't been a strong team to try to dethrone them. That is something that's been very clear. But however, it had no luck for Suzuki and Shido in order to win the match. Apparently, uh, Chris Brooks had Shin Suzuki in a submission, forcing him to tap out, giving the win to CDK. Now, for Unjunket Tournament, I can tell you this: the CDK did not win all the way to the finals. Neither did the Best Bros. That really disappointed me. I was hoping that someone would say, "You suck," because they didn't. Mia got eliminated right away, but it was Antonio Honda who actually won the whole thing. I'm like, not happy, but it happened. So it was a pretty good show. They did announce that there's going to be another Got to Move event in Yokohama. Now I don't recall if they ever did a show in Yokohama, but I will be doing more information on that, and that will be on the news updates in the following episode. So stand by on that. And I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. I believe it's time to do NWA Nuff Said. Okie dokie. So, NWA Nuff Said. So, we're going to start out with the pre shows, as we normally don't do, but we do. Let's see what matches that they had during the time. Our first match, we have La Rosa Negra taking on Misa Kate. It's great to see La Rosa Negra back. As you know, she was injured for a while due to that brutality she got herself into with Tail Valkyrie, but she seems like she was ready to kick ass. But it was a pretty good match. I think it was a good starting point for the pre-show. La Rosa Negra, I've seen her wrestle a few times. Uh, Ended with her winning the match by applying a somewhat of a frog splash, but they dubbed it as the cookie splash. Don't ask me why, but it was pretty good. I liked the maneuver. It really was good. Real high enough, not to lie about it. Next up, we got Dak Draper and Nims taking on the Outlaws, consistent of Bulletproof Troop and Jack staying along with that Sweezel, Chris Silvio. Now, this match was pretty interesting because, as you know, we have Nims and Jack Draper were part of the team that won the Champion Series. Now, Nims already cashed in his. Dak Draper hasn't cashed in on his yet, but we will wait till that time. But however, in this case, I liked how it seems that the Outlaws had everything under control until they were able to separate Jack staying away from Troop, and that Weasel Chris Silvio tried to get involved, but it did not work out the way it hoped for. But later there was a roll up by Draper to pick up the win. So I thought it was a pretty good one. I mean, I feel that Troop and Dane did not work out pretty well. Even though we seen Draper and Mims somehow figured out a way to work together, giving themselves the win. Now, our next match, we have Joe Alonso taking on Odison. Joe Alonso, being the cockiest SOB on the planet, thinks he can beat a Viking. So that's how it is. But it was Odison with a somewhat of a tornado onto him that threw him off in the air, and bam, he was out cold. And 1, 2, 3, he was done. And then finally, we have our last pre-show. We have Looks That Kill, consisted of Mekorio and Natalia Morkova taking on Genocide and Max the Impaler. But accompanying Max is someone we all know, Amy Rose, who we haven't seen for quite some time. It's still unclear why Father James Mitchell's not here. We don't know. We know that the last time she had help from Father James Mitchell, but right now it makes no sense. why he's not here. But we'll find out soon enough. But the match was pretty good. I think it showed a very interesting intergender tag match, despite the fact there's only 3 women and 1 man. But in this case, it was, of course, the beautiful destruction by Natalia Markova to genocide that allowed her to win the match. So I thought it was a pretty good one. Didn't enjoy it. Now, our next one is a Singapore cane match between Father of Psycho Love and Tom Latimer. Now, this thing between them started out when, of course, Psycho Love attacked Tom Latimer and Angelina Love from behind. And I thought this showed a new aggressive side to Tom Latimer, who wasn't going to take any shit from Fodder, but he did put him in a crossface by using the kendo stick on his mouth. He wasn't going to hurt him with the kendo stick. He was going to break his back or break his face or whatever. But he got a somewhat of measure of payback for what Father did to him. Now, we do get an interesting interview with Matt Cardona with May Valentine. Now, of course, Cardona continues to roll on, saying, that he is the current world champ, that he is the real world champion. Of course, because it's no secret that he did not lose it, or one way or the other, he had to relinquish it. So that does count. So he is 100% confident that he will walk out as the champion. So we'll see about that, because that will be our main event. Now, our next match is for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship. We have Alex Taylor, who cashed in his champion series. Ironically, he was part of Team Rock and Roll. He's facing the team captain, Kerry Morton. I thought the match was pretty good because it showed Kerry Morton that he is willing to continue on the legacy of his family, especially his father, who has held this title. But it took an elbow strike to Alex Taylor to pick up the win and have, of course, Kerry Morton to retain the title. Huge disappointing loss for Alex Taylor, but however, he did pull off a good performance in this match. Now, our next match, this is somewhat of a rubber match between Kratos and Thrill Billy Cyrus. Now, Kratos last time on Power, he struck on Boyle Del Mar, pissing off Thrill Billy. This was the most vicious match I've ever seen, especially when it comes to Thrill Billy Cyrus. Like, he went above and beyond to try to break him. But, however, when things were out, Thrill Billy continues. He wanted to hurt him some more. He busted him open, and then referee made the decision to call off the match, realizing he was done for. Kratos is done, and it was like, wow, he took it to the max. So it was a pretty good match. Now, our next one, we have EC3 versus Kevin Kelly. You may know him as Alex Riley from WWE, who's been on a 6-year hiatus. This match was more like EC3 was trying to tell him, hey, no one cares or give a damn about you. But we don't know what's the significance of him calling him to bring him back to the NWA. It did end it with, of course, with the purpose. Hopefully we can see Alex Kali back, but hopefully, maybe with a much better storyline or something. I don't know, but we'll see. Our next match is the NWA. Oh no, I skipped a match. We have the NWA World Women's Tag Team titles. We have the Renegade Twins taking on, of course, Pretty Empowered. I thought this match was pretty good because, we have seen Pretty Empowered on several occasions, how they treat their way through to ensure that those titles win in. But Charlotte Twins, who have big name for themselves, I thought it was a pretty good moment. I have to say how the Renegade Twins have grown up a lot since seeing them on in AEW and other places. But it was, of course, they were able to isolate Kenzie Page away from Ella Envy to give time for Robin to roll her up and pick up the win. This was an unexpected. So we have one championship exchange title. So that's pretty good. Now, our next title match, we have the men's tag team titles. We have Blunt Force Trauma, Carnage, and Damage, along with Aaron Stevens, taking on La Rebellion consisted of Mecha Wolf and Damien 666. But on note, Bestia 666 but his dad Damien was not allowed to be in the ringside. You probably would have thought this would have been a much harder match, but however, this match ended in no disqualification. We don't know what was the purpose of Aaron Stevens for this. We know he wants these titles one way or the other. If you guys remember, him and Kratos lost these tag team titles last year to La Rebellion. But now it's like he wants to reclaim those titles, but this time it ended in disqualification. So we'll see what happens then. Now our next match is a match that has been years in the making. We have people that know each other. We have Chris Adonis versus Trevor Murdoch. This match was also a good one because these guys, if you guys remember, when Trevor Murdoch was the national champion, he lost the title to Chris Adonis, and you know that he wants possibly a somewhat of measure revenge against him. But once again, the Master Lock played its toll onto Trevor Murdoch to win the match. So I thought, okay, so it was pretty easy. But the obvious thing is, are we going to see a rubber match between those two? I don't know. But if it does, that would be great. Now our next match is the NWA Women's Championship. We have Angelina Love and Camille in a no disqualification match. Anything could happen. There were chairs, trash cans, anything. But you know for a fact that Angelina Love would do anything in her power to obtain this belt, to dethrone Camille. As you know, Camille has now gone up to 600 days as our current NWA Women's Champion. We know that because Angelina Love is a veteran who has held many championships from various promotions. So this is no different for her. But it took only a spear by Camille to put Angelina Love through the table. And 1, 2, 3, the one time she has retained the title. So it would have been a close one, but it did not. Next up, we got the NWA National Heavyweight Championship between Homicide and Zion. Now, Homicide was the one who requested this match, but it didn't win. But however, that he bit off more than he can chew. I mean, Zion, he has learned a lot from his dad, Austin Idol, showing him how exactly things should be done and all that. But however, Homicide, he would do great lengths to try to pick up the win, but it did not do any well until Zion applied the rolling Death Valley driver, and it was over right from there. Now, before the start of our main event, we have Bully Ray joining the commentary team. As you know, he still has issues towards Matt Cardona. But however, the match between Cardona and Tyrus was kind of interesting because we have like a somewhat of David versus Goliath. But the obvious thing is, can Cardona do things on his own since he cannot have anybody from the Cardona family? The referee was knocked out. Things were gonna go haywire. Of course, we don't know what the hell is Rolando doing. He shows up to help out, but it was a big mistake. And then, of course, Mike Knox shows up to give the helping hand. But in this case, it took a tongue and deft grip by Tyrus to put away Cardona to retain the title. However, we know, but I had a feeling that because Bully Ray helped Tyrus to maintain the title, he probably want to have a title shot. So we'll see when that day happens, because this is like a different storyline we're seeing away from Impact, but we'll find out. I thought the show was pretty good. I think it was very enjoyable. I give it possibly, I don't know, an 8 out of 10. But it was good. Not going to lie about that. So we'll see about that. I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on to DWZ Discussions.
Get the guns, the drugs from my generation. I'll take the fall, the states, and across the nation. And it's a sin, the cost, the fake, the fraud, the messing with me. Come on, come on, come on, let's get it on. Move to the music, play that fucking music. Move it to the music, yeah. Move to my music, play that fucking music. Live through my music, yeah. Now get the guns, the drums from my generation. I'll take the fall, the
Okay, so it's been a while since I did a DWZ discussion. This topic is a very interesting one because recently some people started to talk about developments that have been taking place involving Lady C and DDM and possibly Queen's Quest. Now, what exactly is going on? Now, as you know, for the last since the Goddess Tag League, we have seen Lady C team up with a member of DDM. We're talking about Mai Sakurai. If you guys remember, Lady C doesn't like Mai Sakurai after what transpired earlier in 2022 when she betrayed the Cosmic Angels, and then all of a sudden she once again ended up in a tag in a the trios tag team match against the with the other members of DDM, Himeka and Himeka and Micah. But however, interesting developments has been taking place. It appears that DDM are now interested in having her join, which was kind of weird. But many fans who have been following this are saying, "What's up with Queen's Quest? Why they haven't said anything?" That is an excellent question. To understand that, let's start with the beginning with Lady C. Now, if you guys know the history of Lady C, she debuted with the promotion back in November 14th of 2020, which ironically is the same day where the Cosmic Angels were born. So basically, she has a lot of shared history with them. Now, much from the remaining of 2020, all throughout 2021, Lady C was the only person who was not affiliated with any of the units in the promotion, such as the Cosmic Angels, Stars, Queen's Quest, DDM, and of course Oedo Tai. But however, she has teamed up with four out of the five factions, which is the Cosmic Angels, Stars, Queen's Quest, and DDM. However, many people were already speculating at the time that Lady C will join Cosmic Angels because at the time Cosmic Angels only had three members. This is before they started expanding people. So we were still unclear on that motive about that whole thing. But much of 2021, we have witnessed Lady C have teamed up majority of the times with members of DDM, consistently with Micah and Himika. And there were those who already been talking about there is a consideration she may be signing with them. However, things changed by the end of 2021. As you remember, a masked assailant in a silhouette attacked certain wrestlers, more specifically coming to the Cosmic Angels. It was Mai Sakurai who was the main target, but Lady C got caught in the crossfire in the process after a 3-on-1 match when she teamed up with Mai Sakurai and Waka. But of course, after that, we did see it was Julia. But Lady C felt disgusted about what just transpired, and this made her reconsider her decision to join DDM. But however, she made a surprising move when she saw that Queen's Quest were outnumbered against Oedo Tai. If you guys remember, Oedo Tai were trying to destroy Queen's Quest after Momo Watanabe betrayed them to join them. But however, Lady C comes out to help them despite the fact that, it was not enough. But as soon as the whole thing was, the smoke was cleared, Utami Hashira, who was not the leader at the time, offered Lady C to join, which she did. She explained why she chose to be with Queen's Quest. Now, her debut match was against Sayakami Tani, who at the time was still with Queen's Quest. So that would make a lot more sense to her. So basically, she owed it a lot to her. But she did point out a few things. She did team up with Queen's Quest on rare occasions. Queen's Quest are one of the oldest factions within Stardom. So that pretty much said then. But did it do anything good for her? Well, she has picked up some good matches, smaller ones here and there, but not the bigger ones. Since much of 2022, she did start a big feud with Micah, who criticized her for saying, "You will never win big matches." And that did not stop Lady C from anything. Not to mention, Lady C was a little bummed out that she did not make it to the qualifying through the qualifying matches to the 5-star Grand Prix. The only people that did was, of course, uh, was Ami Sodi, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla. But Tekla was had to be removed due to the fact she got injured and she was replaced by Momo Kogo. I'm sure Lady C was felt disappointed that she did not did that. But however, things got a little interesting for Lady C during this when the Goddesses Tag League happened. During the press conference, they introduced the teams. Amongst them was Lady C teaming up with Mai Sakurai. Now, these two ladies don't even like each other. If you guys remember, Lady C felt disgusted about Sakurai saying, "How can you join someone who whacked you with a weapon in the back?" To Lady C, I look at her that she has a moral conscience. But Mai Sakurai felt that it was a good invitation. But of course, Lady C took great pleasure in seeing her cry after Mirai left DDM to join God's Eye. And of course, it gave people what they said a sense of justice for Waka for what Mai Sakurai did. But of course, much of the beginning of the tournament in Goddess Tag League, Mai Sakurai and Lady C tried to get along, but at some point they decided, okay, look, let's just get through with it. And unfortunately, the entire tournament was a disaster. They haven't even picked up a single win throughout the entire time. So basically ended bad. But on the last match, it felt like a relief for Lady C that, okay, we're done. We go our separate ways. I go my way. I focus on what I'm going to do. You go your way, focus on you. So Lady C must have thought in her mind, like, okay, not a big deal. We go our separate ways. That's the end of it. But unfortunately, it did not end it that way for her. Apparently, once again, she got thrown with pairing with two other people, but this time in from DDM again. And this time is with Himeka and Maika. She comes out saying, okay, whose bright idea was for someone to pair me up with you two? Now, Himeka saying this, that they presumed it was Lady C. Now, Lady C denied, saying, no, I did not. She was like, giving the X. She did not ask Rossi Ogawa to put her in this. But for some odd reason, Maika said something that kind of made no sense to me. Before, when she had her little feud with Lady C, Maika stated saying that she never wanted her to join DDM. And now, she's telling her, hopefully with this, you can consider joining DDM. Now, why would she want to do that? Obvious reasons why. DDM are not the strongest unit. As you recall, DDM has not been the same since Sudi left and formed God's Eye with Ami Sodi and Mirai. And of course, Natsupoi betrayed them to join Cosmic Angels. So basically, that kind of sets in like they're trying to hang in together, trying to continue on with 5 members. But even despite the fact that now, okay, Julia is currently the Red Belt champion, that will elevate DDM, but it's still not enough. So I think that's the real reason they're trying to convince her, saying that she should join DDM. Like they're kind of saying that she would consider that. Now this is the same kind of attitude that Julia put out last year in Golden Fight Week when it came to Konami. Now remember, Konami left Stardom by the end of 2021 after the Dreams Queensdom event when she lost to Julia. Now, of course, before the start of Golden Fight Week, Konami announced that she'll be siding with God's Eye to join them. But however, there was a match they put in at the Fukuoka Goddess Festival where, of course, we saw Julia said that Konami will join DDM. Now, Sudi was like, whoa, what are you talking about? So she was 100% convinced. But I look at this storyline saying that Konami is not stupid. She probably can sense, you took advantage of me, Julia. You're saying just because I lost to you, that means I have to join DDM. But Konami will never forget that. But she knows that her never-ending battle with Julia will never end. So this will continue on. But now they're saying the same thing with Lady C. Now, recently, as you know, but to relate to these two stories, there's a similarities. The similarities is this: Konami is a striker, so was Sudi. Sudi was a striker in DDM, and since she left, they needed to find someone who can replace her. And Konami was the same thing. Now with Himeka, in this case, if you guys know now, she has announced her retirement from pro wrestling. So that means that she will be leaving real soon. But however, it appears that Julia is now at it again. Try to find someone who has the same kind of caliber as Himeka, and they chose Lady C. And they're saying that they're terming her to join DDM. I mean, many people are saying it could be a good choice. But the obvious question does tell, what does Queen's Quest have to say about this? I mean, I haven't heard anything from them. I haven't heard anything from Utami Ashida or Saya Kamitani or Azumi. What did they have to say? I know that Kamitani was dealing with the whole thing, trying to break the defense record. I don't know what Utami is trying to do. I'm sure she has a lot of things in her mind. I know Azumi is also trying to break the record for the high speed most defense record. So it's still unclear. What does Queen's Quest have to say about this? But some people does theorize, what if this is the beginning of try to ignite a match between both Julia and Utami Hayashida? I'm sure this was a match that, of course, Julia has never had with Utami for the red belt. And I think that tells us that maybe that's the whole point. Maybe Lady C is the gatekeeper to ensure that happens. But I wouldn't be surprised that if Julia says, if I win, Lady C joins DDM. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Because Julia is a fantastic wrestler, but she has a delusional mind. Because I always say that because Julia says things that she thinks that's going to come true in certain ways. Some things haven't come true. And I'm not talking about the red belt people. I'm talking about when she claims Konami was going to join DDM and she hasn't. And of course, she thinks that Starlight Kid, her desires to remove the mask, that's not going to happen either. And then she's saying that one day Zuzu will stand next to her. And Zuzu's like, ain't going to happen. So that's the way I see it. But we're still yet to hear from what Queen's Quest have to say about this, because literally DDM are opening their arms to Lady C. So what is really, really going on here? Because I know Lady C is so loyal to Queen's Quest, she would never betray them. But I wouldn't be surprised if DDM decided to fight for her. That's the thing. But we'll see what happens when that day comes. And I think that's pretty much it, what we have for this discussion. So if you guys enjoy this, then you guys should keep paying attention what's been going on with Stardom and with this particular story. I think this is a very interesting thing to follow. So right now, let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. I did a lot of work on this one with the discussion involving Lady C, DDM, and Queen's Quest. So, like I said, we'll just wait and see what's gonna happen. Originally, I was gonna do the Jersey Championship Wrestling with the J Cup, but I did not have enough time. So that's why I put the discussion for everybody to fill up the gap on this one for everybody to enjoy. So I will do that one as we speak. We've still got more on Stardom. As you know, I did mention recently on a news update alert that Okada said that he'll face Kiyomiya at the Tokyo Dome on the 21st of February. So I'm looking forward to that. But for the next episode, I will, as you know, we got AEW Dark Elevation. I might have to do the Jersey Championship Wrestling stuff. I'll do that as soon as possible, and then we'll go from there. For now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.